So if you're anything like me, when you first started out in filmmaking, lighting could be a bit of a challenge. So you order your first video light and you're excited because now you can start creating cinematic images. But you blast the light on yourself and it doesn't look like a movie. So you order the first softbox you come across, and although it's better, it's still not giving you that super soft look that you want to achieve. So that's kind of how I started out with getting into lighting. I got myself a COB light and a softbox, and I thought that my stuff was just gonna look amazing. But even though it looked better, I feel like I kind of thought that it was a one-step solution to get really soft looking light, and that's just really not the case. Don't get me wrong, softboxes are great tools, and used in the right context, they can be really, really helpful. So let's talk about 3 super easy ways to get soft light without using a softbox. So option number 1 is bouncing your light. The cheapest and easiest way to get your light softer is by bouncing it off of a reflective surface. So when you take a small but powerful light like the Godox ML30 that I'm using in this video, and you blast it against a large reflective source, that small light gets broken up and becomes a much bigger source, and when you bounce it off of something, it instantly softens the light. As you can see in this shot, I simply just blasted that Godox ML30 against my closet door, which is white, and it bounced back and was a really nice, soft, pleasing source. But let's say that you don't have a white wall or a white door to bounce it off of. You can use something as simple as like a white bed sheet, tack it up on the wall and bounce your light off of that. I'm using the white side of a 5-in-1 reflector taken off of the actual frame, and then I just tack it up to the corner of the wall because I wanted to try to maybe bounce the light off of the corner of the wall so that it looked a little bit more like the light was coming from the window. So if you were just going to try to use just the Godox ML30 by itself, even turned down to 1%, blasting it right at you is not going to look good. So the easiest way to get your light softer is just to bounce it off of something reflective. So again, you could use like poster board, you could use a white bed sheet. But honestly, I would say if you have like an extra 20 bucks or so, you should get yourself a nice big 5-in-1 reflector. They're going to be super versatile, and I would almost argue more versatile than a softbox. So option 2 is diffused light, and this is where that $20 5-in-1 reflector is going to come in real handy. You don't have to use this. Again, you can use a bed sheet or even some shears, but having this 5-in-1 reflector is just going to make your life a whole lot easier, and it's really inexpensive. So I've demonstrated how to accomplish this in some of my more recent videos, but this is a pretty straightforward way of getting softer light. Basically, you take your light source, and instead of blasting it right at your subject, you make sure that there's something in front of that light that's going to break it up and soften it before it actually hits your subject. As you can see in this shot with me just sitting down on my couch, if I was just going to blast the light directly at me, it would look absolutely horrible. So all I did was using a light stand and that 5-in-1 reflector, and I had a little reflector holder on the top. All of these things are super cheap. Nothing here is probably over 20 bucks, so I'll leave everything that I'm using in the description below. But basically, I just put it just out of frame so that the light was hitting the diffusion part of that 5-in-1 reflector, softening the light on my face. And this is, again, a really easy and straightforward way of getting nice, soft light in your videos. The really nice thing about this technique is that, unlike a softbox, if you needed to do a wide shot and you wanted to make sure that the entire subject was lit, again, if you got a really big piece of diffusion, even something like that 5-in-1 reflector, that's going to be able to diffuse the light on a much bigger subject than even some of the larger softboxes can. All right, and option number 3 is going to be the book lighting technique. Now, for this lighting technique to work well, you're gonna need a pretty powerful light. So I wouldn't suggest trying this with something like those cheap Luxio lights that I've talked about before. But if you have something like a Godox ML30 or some of the cheaper COB lights, this is gonna work just fine. So essentially what this technique is it's bouncing light, but then also diffusing that bounced light. So essentially double diffusing your light so you get a very, very soft light source. So this could be as simple as just taking your light, bouncing it off your wall, and diffusing that bounced light with something like a 5-in-1 reflector. Or again, you could get a shower curtain at the dollar store or get some shears, get a white bed sheet or something like that. But essentially, you're gonna wanna make sure that your light is gonna be powerful enough that that bounced light can then get diffused through whatever diffusion that you're using and still be able to expose your subject well. For these test shots, I'm using the Godox ML30 and I'm bouncing it off a wall at first and then diffusing it with my 5-in-1 reflector. But if you want a little bit more output out of your bounce, you can hang up the reflective parts of that 5-in-1 reflector. So you get more of a bounce off of your reflective surface, and then you get a little bit more light that can go into that diffusion and then give you that really nice soft light. This is probably my favorite technique to get nice, really pleasing looking light. And basically it's because you're double diffusing your light. And that's one of the reasons why I like using this Godox soft lighter as my diffusion for my main key light in my YouTube videos, because this is actually doing a similar technique to what a book light is doing. I'm shining a light into a reflective umbrella, and then that very even reflected light is bouncing back through a layer of diffusion and giving me a really nice soft key light. And so that's one of the reasons why the book lighting technique is so popular, is because it gives a very, very soft and pleasing looking light. And what's pretty nice about this is that you don't have to use it on a wall. You can get 2 5-in-1 reflectors, blast the light into one of them, and then diffuse it with another 5-in-1 reflector to create the exact same effect. And I have basically always been happy with using the book lighting technique whenever I'm trying to light something and just make it look really, really nice. So if you just recently bought your first light, or if maybe you've never tried any of these lighting techniques to soften your light, I would definitely challenge you to go out, try some of these techniques. And again, if you create stuff that you're pretty happy with, definitely send them to me. I would love to see them. But anyways, I think that's all I have for you in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I do want to thank my Patreons for making videos like these possible. If you'd like to join them, the link will be in the description below. But yeah, like this video if you enjoyed it. If you'd like to watch some more of my videos, you can click on either side of my face. Once again, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll catch you all next time. Later.